Hello, everyone, and welcome you all to another chapter of the JavaScript beginners tutorial. So now we are on our chapter number 8, where I'll be showing you guys about variables and comments. Okay, so in programming for JavaScript, the variable and comments are two of the basic things which we should understand. So let's not waste much time and let's get started with this particular chapter right over here. So over here on my screen, as you guys can see, now I'm here in the home page, or I am here in the JavaScript page, which I do have worked in our last classes as well. So in our last class, we do have seen that how you will be able to remove your JavaScript from the HTML itself, which was embedded over here in this particular programming. And then what we did is we did moved the JavaScript programming from here to an individual file, which is a .js file, which is a JavaScript file itself. And inside this HTML, I do have mentioned that from where it will refer the JavaScript inside this HTML file as well. Okay. So I have also shown you, if you just go to open with live server, if you open this programming with live server, how you will be able to see no changes. Okay, so it will just work out the same way. So now let's go to my JavaScript, and over here, the thing which we're gonna learn over here is basically variables. Okay, so first we need to understand that what are variables. Okay, so let me just put the topic as variables in JavaScript. Okay, so let's come over here and let's come back over here again. And I do have commented this thing out, and we're going to learn about comments as well. Okay, like what is the use of comment, how you'll be able to comment up multiple line at once. Okay, but first let's try to learn about variables in JavaScript. So variables are basically strings, or if you don't know what strings are known as the text which we put inside a variable. Okay, so a variable can contain a text, a variable can contain a number, or a variable can also contain a Boolean value. So if I try to explain you guys in simple word, a variable is like a container which stores information like a string value, a numerical value, or a Boolean value, which is true or false. Okay, so JavaScript, let me just type it over here, is JavaScript is like a container to store different kind of datas. Okay, so here you guys can see JavaScript is like a container to store different kind of datas. Okay, and if I just come here, let's comment this out as well. As I have told you over here, it stored different kind of datas. Okay, so what do we understand by different kind? As I have already told you, it can contain, let's come here, let's put one, it can contain a text or string. Otherwise, it can contain a numerical value. Okay. About data type, we're gonna learn in detail in our next class, and also a Boolean value which can be in true or false. Okay, so this mostly contains these three type of data, and in data types we're gonna learn more about it. Okay, so let's say you have seen in your house that there are different kind of containers. So in different type of containers, they do put the desired thing. Let's say in a bucket of water, you don't put rice. Okay, usually, I don't know, you guys do or not, but usually you don't, right? So there are also inside a variable, we do store different kind of data according to the type of variable over here. And if you want to type variable inside your JavaScript, so for that, what you need to do is you need to come here and you need to type var, which is known as var. And after typing var, you guys can just give it up a space. And now you can name anything your variable, okay? But make sure that you don't start it with a number. Let's say if I come here and if I just type num1, okay, so I will just name my variable as num1, and to define that one, you guys can give it up a space and you guys can put out the equals to sign. And as you are going to put on numbers, you don't have to put inside quotation, whether it's a single quote or whether it's a double quote. Well, so you guys can come here, and from here now you guys can just give it a value. Let's say 65. Let's close this down with colon. Let's click on enter. Let's type this one var, and I will name this particular variable as num2. Okay, let's put this one as 75. And now over here, I will just close down my quotation, or I'll just put out the semicolon right over here. Okay. So over here, as you guys can see, now I do have mentioned two different kind of variables. Okay. So over here, you guys can see the first variable is num1. Okay. So this is the variable. And inside this particular variable, I do have the value of 65. Okay. And over here, now I do have define the second variable, which I have named as num2. So you guys can change any name, like you guys can put out any name over here. And also here, you guys can see that you guys can just put out anything and you guys can just close it down with comma. Let's say now, if anywhere I just put out any kind of printing instruction, let's say we do have used the console.log. Okay, so over here, if I just use console.log, and now let's open this parenthesis over here. And if I mention the name of the variable, let's say I will mention num1 plus, you guys can do minus, you guys can do plus, you guys can multiply, you guys can do the division. Okay, or let's say, let's come over here, let's just change the variable. Let's go with 95 over here, and what I'm gonna do is I will just put num1 minus num2. Okay, so as you guys can see, I do have the num2 over here. If you do want to put out spaces in between just to make it look better, you guys can come here and you guys can always do that. And after each line, you guys can come here and you need to make sure that you finish the line with a semicolon at last. Okay, so over here, as you guys can see, here, now I do have mentioned two variables, and I have told, or I do have commanded console.log. So if I just open my console from here, let's say if I come here and from here, if I just open it up, I will be able to see that I will have the result, but not both of these values. Okay, so the result should come 20 because 95 minus 75 is 20 over here. Okay, and now let me also tell you guys about comment. Okay, so let's come down. Let me just show you guys about comment. So here, as you guys can see, when I'm using this double hash over here, it is known as commenting out. So as you guys can see, the places where I do have used this double hash, okay, it is just cutting off this piece of information. So I'm not letting my computer know that I want to run this code. So once I put this double hash over here in front of any line, in that case, my computer will basically not read whatever is inside this. Okay, it will understand that I am telling my PC that you should not read the files which I have over here. So the next question is, why do we use commenting out? Okay, so in that case, we have to understand that sometimes when we're building an application and when we're building a big website, so the code is not limited. Like the code is not this much. We do have a lot many codes. Okay, we do have so many pages of codes over there, and sometimes with so many datas available, we might not understand that what's going on inside the code, like from where I should start. If you're working in a team, we need to understand, well, this is the part where you need to put on some drop down menu. This is the part you need to change the css, or this is the part you have to do some logical thinking. Okay, in that case, basically, as you guys can see, I do have named this one as like part one different type of printing in JavaScript. So over here, if you just take a look, you guys will understand, well, okay, in this part I do have explained to you guys about different type of printing in JavaScript. Here you guys can see, well, in the second part, we do have learned the JavaScript console API. Okay, so you guys are clear about what's going on over here. As you guys can see, if I comment this thing out and if I just type comments, okay, so you guys can see that, well, in number 4, we do have learned about comments in JavaScript. So any kind of peaceful information which you want to include inside the program, just for your understanding or the understanding of your team member to level up the particular application or website, these comments are being used inside your program. Okay, so this is about programs. Okay, so you guys can come here and let's say you guys can put out your information regarding that. Let's say if I want to come here and now if I do want to tell any comment, let's say I do have a big uh what to say, I do have a big programming right over here. So if I do want to give some good information, so I can say that uh put out logical barriers over in the second line of the H1 tag. Okay, so if I just put this such information, okay, so the one who is actually working with me for the website or in the development of that particular website or application, they'll be able to read this one and they'll understand exactly what I want them to do. Okay, so these are just sharing information. Okay, this is a lot easier when you share information inside your file as well. Well, what will happen if I come here and if I don't use this comment out option? Well, if I come here and if I don't comment this particular thing out and if I try to run this particular program, you guys will see that I will have an error in my page because this doesn't contain any kind of data, because the language using which I am talking with the computer is through a programming language. And over here, if my computer is trying to decode this, they won't be able to, because this is not any kind of data using which I do talk with my computer. Okay, so computer actually needs a piece or type of language using which we talk. So there are JavaScript, there is HTML, CSS programming language, there is Python programming language. Okay, so these are the type of languages which the computer understand, and that is the medium of communication between you and the computer itself. Like I'm talking with you guys in English, so that's how we need to make sure that I do like you to talk with your computer using the desired programming language. Okay, so now let's come here, let's comment it out, and let's say you do have multiple lines. Let's come here, let's click on Control C, and let me just come right over here and let's click on Control V, and let me just put let's come here and let me just cancel this one. And let's say if I do have multiple lines, as you guys can see over here, I do have 4 lines, and all these 4 lines, what I want to do is I want to come here and I want to comment out all the 4 lines. Okay, so in that particular case, what you guys can do, if you're in VS Code, you guys can come here, you guys can just select all of this thing out and you guys can just click on control and you guys can just put slash. Okay, so it will comment out. And there's other way how you will be able to do so. If you just come on top of this one and now put slash and put a asterisk using which you will multiply as well. So if you just put out asterisk at first and once you're done, you guys can just click on enter, come here, then again put this one and put a asterisk as well, and it will just finish commenting. Okay, so over here you guys can just come, let's just put the asterisk and let's close this down. Let's come over here and you guys can just type your things down. So over here, to open a multi-line comment, first you need to use the slash asterisk, then write down your comment, what you don't want to include inside your programming. Then once you close, you need to make sure that you put the asterisk first and then you put the slash to like embed or enclose your comment section. So yeah, I hope this class was clear. So now let's go back over here into the console part over here about the variables. So I will be showing you guys how a variable works over here. Now let's come here and let's go to my index.html file. And once I'm right over here, let's just right click. Otherwise, let's come here. Let's click on Control S and let's open with the live server. Okay. So over here, you guys can see I am opening this down with the live server. And now I will just open up my console inside the server as well. Let's go to the inspect page. And here inside the inspect page, you guys can see that here I do have the answer 20 after the error. So if you just take out a look here, you guys can see inside this JS file over here, I do have the var1 and the num2, and here inside the console log, I do have put out the equation as num1 minus num2. If I just change over here, let's say instead of minus, if I just put plus, and now if I just go and check here in my console, let's come here, let's reload the page. Okay, let's come here, let's try to reload. And from here, let's go to my VS Code. Let's click on Control S to save it. Let's come over here back again. And here you guys can see that I do have the answer as 170. So the same way, if I come here and if I do want to put minus again, okay, I will just click on Control S. Let's go to my page. And here you guys can see I do have the answer as 20 as well. Okay, so this is how it is important to understand about variables and comments inside your JavaScript. So I hope to see you all in the next chapter where we're going to learn more about data types. Okay, so over here we do have learned about variables, and also I do have told you that it can contain a text or string, it can contain numerical value, and also it can contain Boolean values. So in our next class, we're going to learn more about these different kind of datas inside our JavaScript. So see you all in the next chapter. Till then, take care and goodbye everyone.